The Marvel Cinematic Universe has officially gotten a lot more sensational because the first trailer for She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, has finally arrived, bringing Tatiana Maslany's Jennifer Walters into live action. Jenna here with your Phase Zero breakdown of all of the Easter eggs, comic references, and so much more from the first She-Hulk trailer. The trailer opens with the Los Angeles skyline, a setting that not only pulls directly from Jen's first Savage She-Hulk run of the 1980s, but proves that things actually happen in the MCU outside of New York or San Francisco. We hear narration from Jen's cousin, Bruce Banner, about the perils of being a superhero. We also maybe get our first look at the Wrecking Crew, a group of blue-collar criminals who, in the comics, fight with objects like a magical crowbar and a wrecking ball on a chain. Then we get a look at Jen's everyday life, as well as some of her great friends. This includes Nikki, played by Ginger Gonzaga, a character who doesn't appear to have Marvel roots but could be inspired by some of her best friends, like magazine writer Jill Stevens or even Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat. We also see new characters played by Renee Elise Goldsberry and Josh Segarra, and while we don't know their names yet, it looks like they're Jen's co-workers at the law firm of Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway. GLKH is an Easter egg in and of itself, as 3 of the 4 names of the firm are homages to original Marvel publisher Martin Goodman, as well as the birth names of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We then meet the 4th partner, Holden Holloway, who recruits Jen to be the face of the company's new superhero law division. Apparently, this involves visiting Abomination in a heavily guarded prison, where he's back in his human form after his brief appearance in Shang-Chi. Don't worry, we do see him in his Abomination form, gills and all, later in the trailer. Jen visits Bruce, who is definitely on island time, hanging out at some kind of beachside cabana. Bruce acknowledges that Jen didn't ask for her superpowers, but has still got to deal with it, which seems to be a reference to how she initially gets her powers in the comics. Basically, she gets in a potentially deadly accident, and Bruce is the only one who can give her a blood transfusion, leading to her getting some of his gamma-radiated DNA as a result. Also, what's up with Hulk's arm? We see Bruce in his Smart Hulk form, but he doesn't have the sling that he wore after the Infinity Gauntlet screwed up his arm in Endgame. Does this mean that the series is at least partially set during the blip, or did his arm already heal? We'll have to wait and see. Jen learns that she can transform into She-Hulk when triggered by anger and fear, which leads to her brilliantly pointing out that those emotions are, quote, the baseline of any woman just existing. We then get Jen hulking out and going after Bruce for almost killing her, which is such an excellent moment. From there, we get a lot of scenes that pay homage to the original Savage She-Hulk run. Jen wishes that she could lay low and be an anonymous lawyer, but the rest of the world is fascinated by She-Hulk. That being said, we do get glimpses of her being super confident in She-Hulk form, which feels reminiscent of the campier tone that was set in John Byrne's sensational She-Hulk run. All in all, Jen doesn't want to be a superhero yet. As she points out, that's for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. We also get our first look at Jamela's Titania, with Jen hulking out and fighting her in a courtroom. While we don't get to see the full extent of Titania's super strength just yet, that costume looks like the perfect blend of her original duds and the more recent costumes that she's had. We also briefly see a costume character who appears to be a Power Rangers-esque version of Frogman, a delightfully aloof superhero with the power to leap really far. Hopefully this means that his appearance on the show will finally get him his second action figure. And finally, we see Jen going through the universal perils of online dating, only to bond with a guy who suggests that they split an order of french fries. Honestly, same. While we didn't get to see her fully break the 4th wall, the trailer for She-Hulk, Attorney at Law got the energy of her comic appearances down to a T, and definitely made me excited for the series to premiere in August. What was your favorite part of the She-Hulk, Attorney at Law trailer? Did you notice any Easter eggs or comic references? Tweet them my way at HeyIt'sJennaLynn, and don't forget to subscribe to the Phase Zero YouTube channel for all your latest Marvel updates.